What it do, guys? Manjoume here, and today we're going to check out the Power Rangers deck building game, S.P.D to the Rescue expansion from Renegade Studios. Now this finally came in the mail. I was waiting, I don't know, probably 2 weeks from the release of the other thing I got, which will be a future video. But yeah, this finally did arrive, and we can finally check it out, sleeve it up, and give it some plays. We have been playing a bit of the deck building game. It has been tons of fun. I'm not, and not just me, but my friends and I are not fully convinced that it is truly equal in terms of villains versus good guys. Sometimes it does feel like it's leaning a little more toward the good guy than the bad guy, but well, of course, check it out in future expansions and with more data, more plays. Looking at the front of the box, this is not a season I'm super familiar with, but we have S.P.D 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. I think that's Anubis. Bad guys, obviously. Looking at the side of the box, see villains. The other side, we have good guys. On the back, it's an S.P.D emergency. Emperor Grum and a cohort of villains are on the loose. Space Patrol Delta has sent in a squad of Rangers in response, but now they've gone missing. Or have they? It's up to the B squad of the S.P.D to save the world and put the bad guys behind bars. So some of the cool things about this is a smaller expansion. Sure, you will need a core set because it only adds 75 cards. 75 will change up your games, but you do need the core set to give you the majority of your basic cards. Now the components are 43 main deck cards, 11 oversized character cards, 11 signature item cards, 6 Delta Max Striker cards, 6 Trubian Sword cards, 6 Zord cards, 5 Master cards, 1 Megazord card, which is double-sided, 1 oversized Containment card, and 1 oversized Omni/Magnificence card. That is probably some kind of added thing that this expansion gives us. And of course a rulebook. So each set adds new mechanics or gimmick that changes up the way things are played. Now once we take off the lid, we see the side of the box has a little bit extra art. If I can not let it fall. And no, yeah, it's pretty nice. See, the first thing in the box is a little insert for other games, role-playing game, G.I. Joe deck building game, G.I. Joe role-playing game, and the Transformers deck building game. Was a Rising Darkness expansion. That one's older at this point. We have the manual, which actually looks like a cool comic cover. So the Delta Max Striker cards are basic cards. It looks like the Blade Blasters, probably for the good guy. Then you have Trubian Sword, and that's kind of for the bad guys. One battles villains, the other one helps free them. So that's a cool little thing that they've added. Now there's some cool stuff in here, and of course probably be easier to go through them all in a game, but let's see what's in the box. I love how the box still has some cool artwork that they put in there. They really don't have to, but obviously they do. Let's check the oversized cards, because these are the main stars of the show. Let's go backwards. Emperor Grum, he's pretty cool, and we're in our scheming side, so that's the side we want to be on. You pay 2 less to liberate villains from containment, and his other side, Empowered, pay 3 attack, deal 3 damage. If you liberated a villain this turn, this attack cannot be negated. That's cool. Obviously his whole game plan is to liberate a bunch and do damage. Mora, pay 2, reveal cards from top of the main deck until you reveal a villain. Discard a non-adversary card from the grid, then replace it with the revealed villain. Shuffle the rest of the revealed cards and put them back on top. Her empowered version, it looks like she's grown up. Pay 3 attack, deal 1 damage for each villain you control. If you have 3 or fewer cards attached, you may flip this card. So you can go back to this if you want. Broodwing. When you buy or gain a Crybot, you may attach it. That's actually pretty good. It gets him going pretty quick. Pay 3 attack, deal 2 damage for each Crybot attached to your character and in your team's discard piles. That's pretty cool. General Benig. When you attach an equipment, target foe gains 1 stun. Looking at his other side, Pay 4 attack, deal damage equal to the total shard value of an equipment attached to your character. Ikior, who actually has rainbow, any non-hero, so I mean, why make it yellow if it says any non-hero? I don't know. First time you liberate a villain from containment during each of your turns, draw 2. Then his other side, pay 3 if you liberate a villain this turn, draw 1, reveal it, and attack, deal damage equal to the drawn card's cost. We have Omni, which is very interesting because it has A Squad, which also is a color we have not seen yet. Kind of a plum color. When your team buys, gains, or liberates an A Squad Ranger, attach it to this card. Then the Magnificence, 4. Deal 2 damage for each A Squad Ranger attached to this card. That's pretty interesting, actually. I actually might want to play that. Jack Landors. At the end of your turn, take no damage from adversaries in the grid. That's pretty cool. Just don't get hurt. S.P.D. Red, of course. Pay 3, attack. Deal 2 damage for each maneuver attached to your character. So, 2 to 4 damage. Sky Tate. First time you attach a block during each of your turns, you may destroy a card in your discard pile. It's pretty cool, actually. S.P.D. Blue. Pay 4, attack. Deal 2 damage for each block attached to your character. So, yeah, you know, that could potentially be all of them, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8. Potentially 8 if you buy enough, obviously. Bridge Carson. At the start of your turn, peek at the top card of the main deck, discard it, or reveal it. Turning into S.P.D. Green. Pay 3, reveal the top card of the main deck, attack, deal damage equal to its cost. Elizabeth Z. Delgado. 3 heroes, wow. At the end of your turn, you may attach a hero you played this turn. That's pretty cool. Especially because she has so many. She turns into S.P.D. Yellow. Pay 7, that's a lot. Deal damage equal to the total cost of all heroes attached to your character. That could be pretty high. Pretty high. Sydney Sid Drew. When you attach an equipment, deal 2. So, pretty cool. Then we have S.P.D. Pink. Pay 5, attack for each equipment attached to your character. Target foe discards 1 card from their hand. Good disruption. And Nubis Doggy Kruger, and his is rainbow except villain, any non-villain. So I don't know. I kind of get why they use the rainbow still because it's generic and it's an easy way to look at it. People may not necessarily read that, so they might be misplaying it. When you place a villain into containment, your team draws a total of 2 cards, divided evenly. So I draw 1, my partner draws 1. That's kind of cool. He turns into S.P.D. Shadow Ranger. Pay 3, reveal a random villain on the containment card, attack, deal damage equal to its cost. Pretty cool. Then we have our S.P.D. Containment. When you battle a villain, you may resolve their reward or contain them with this card. Once per turn, you may battle with energy instead of shards, but you must contain that villain. If there are 8 villains in the containment, the heroes win the game. Villain players may liberate villains from this card by buying them. However, the cost of the villain is double its printed cost. When a villain is liberated, the villain player puts it into their hand. In the case of A Squad Rangers, attach them to Omni or the Magnificence instead. So that's actually pretty cool, and it looks pretty neat. Let's look at the main deck cards real quick. Take a look. We have our Delta Max Striker cards, the Trubian Swords, Cat Manx, S.P.D. Green, Pink, Yellow, Blue, Shadow Ranger, Red. Zords are your Delta 1 runner, 2, 3, 4, 5. Delta Base, that's actually pretty... Oh, Delta Base is for the Shadow Ranger, that's cool. White Crybot, a couple of those. Blue Head Crybot, good old Piggy. Bugglesworth, Professor Mooney, Orange-headed Crybot. I kind of like the Crybot thing. Murloc, General Valko. Have your master versions of each of the characters. Oh, here's a cool one, and I think this is pretty cool. The A Squad Red, Blue, of course using the older in-space helmets. Yellow, Pink. So those are really cool, and they're very specific to the one Omni / Magnificence. Rick 2.0, Canine Cannon, S.P.D. Battleizer, that's pretty cool actually. SWAT Truck, A Wave of My Hand, A Big Swing, S.P.D. Emergency, Judgment Mode, Terror Spacecraft, Piggy's Cafe, Cat's Lab, New Tech City, Signature Weapons, Delta Blasters, Delta Patrol Cycle. That's actually pretty cool that they're different. I don't know if the season in general is like that, but he's got 2 guns. He's got a motorcycle, Delta Enforcer. That they don't look specific per se, like Power Swords, Power Lance, Delta Cruiser, Fist of Iron. Like that doesn't seem okay. His Shadow Saber, that seems more like what I was expecting. Grum Staff, Battle Suit, Wings, Clawblade, and Ocean Saber. Ocean Saber. See, this is more like what I was expecting. Then your Megazord is the Delta Squad Megazord. That's pretty cool. Pay 4, ready all attached swords, and then attack deal 4. Flip it, you have the Delta Max, which is just all of them, I guess. Ready all, and then deal 5 instead of 4. So, I mean, it's definitely an upgrade. That's for sure. Costs a little less. It's cool. To the Rescue Expansion, bonus pack 4. And I believe it's the exact same, the oversized cards that we've seen in the past. Yep, just foil versions of the cards that we got in the expansion, but they always look so much nicer as holographics. All the colors just pop out compared to the generic non-foil versions. I do wish they would have done a foil version of the containment card. Like that would have popped a little bit more, but I get it. That's not what they do. They only do the basic oversized cards, which still look very nice. See that shininess on all of them. Cannot beat that. That is great. I absolutely adore these. Well, guys, that's it for the S.P.D. to the Rescue expansion for the Power Rangers deck building game. S.P.D. to the Rescue expansion, bonus pack 4. If you're looking for a podcast to listen to and you want to learn more of the Spider-Man of the future, Spider-Man 2099, check out Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find podcasts. If DC is more your thing and you want to learn more about the King of the Seven Seas, check out Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find podcasts. Every so often on those podcasts, we will be having episodes that aren't necessarily related to the titular characters. For example, in the DC one, we might be covering other characters at times as a preview of sorts for another sister podcast. If it catches any ground and people like what they listen to, then we will continue on with the series. Be sure to follow on those platforms, and if you're able to, leave a rating on Apple Music and Spotify. It really does help us to reach more people, and that is ultimately what we want to do, is to teach and share the love of these characters that may not be getting the most spotlight. Are there plenty of Spider-Man podcasts? Yes. Are there plenty of Spider-Man 2099 podcasts? I'm going to say lesser so. Are there plenty of Batman podcasts? Yes. Superman? Also yes. Aquaman? Not super many. I'm going to say more than there are Spider-Man 2099, but not too many. And I do believe ours is the first that is Aquaman-centric and not sharing spotlight with another character. If you want to stay up to date on my videos and live streams both YouTube and Twitch, check out links in the description below, like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining. That's all for now, guys. Manjoume out.